Just Prince TV here. Let's get into it. Now, listen, I don't mind people being competitive, especially when it comes to New York City, right? Because we have a reputation for being competitive. We always like to compete against each other. That's not my point when I'm talking about the Nas and Jim Jones stuff, right? Jim Jones doubling down, saying that, hey, here, rap circles around Nas. That's a joke. Okay, we all know that's a joke. But I'm not going to call him out for having confidence. My problem with Jim Jones is when you sit there and say you growed up on Nas, you a big Nas fan, you was influenced by Nas. You give the guy his flowers. Then on the flip side of that, you try to shit on him and say that he's this, he's that, and you're better than him. When you acknowledging your peers and you giving your peers respect, you don't shit on them, right? Even if you think you're better than your peers, the first thing you say is, just like in basketball terms, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave that up to the barbershops. I'm not going to say anything about that. I growed up on Michael Jordan. I growed up on such and such. I'm not going to talk about that. That's what you do. You leave it alone because that's your peers, right? So for Jim Jones to say this,
on laps around Nas rapping right now, bro. Right now, 2025, I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around. Smoke. That's right. I'm not mad. It's about the sportsmanship of the game. People know I'm a very aggressive person, and I seem to get misconstrued when I'm talking my shit. I'm just talking my shit, you heard? Let me talk my shit because I am on the field. If anybody got a problem with that, they can meet me on the field. That is the booth.
That's what I have a problem with, right? Now, first thing you say is you're more influential than Nas. Jones, you over 50-something years old. You in your second childhood, in the words of Nas, right? Nobody in 2025 is influenced by you. I'm sorry to tell you that. You are not part of this generation. The youngsters these days, like you call them the YNs, they're not into you. They're not bopping your music. Old heads are listening to your music. And by the way, you got one of the albums of the year. I even said that. I reviewed your album and said your album was fire. The Shit Up in the Harlem, great music songs. Your pen game has gotten better. Your album is spectacular. It's great. I think that and Eclipse are going to be the best two albums of the year. But that's neither here or there. All right? Now, if you just want to talk about 2025, fine. I give you a bone. Since Nas didn't release anything in 2025, for the year of 2025, you could say you have better music than Nas, right? But here's the flip side to that. All it takes is for one Nas diss song against you that could spoke your whole album because his pen game is that farther ahead of yours. All right? In no shape or form are you a better rapper or more influenced than Nas because most guys that rap are influenced by Nas. But let's digress. All right? Now, your second claim is anybody from that era, that generation, if they once spoke with you, they could get in the yard and you could rap it out with them. I like the competitive nature that you have, Jim Jones. I like it. We're not talking about violence. We're just talking about hip-hop. I like that. Okay? I like to see brothers from New York City compete and not take it to violence, right? Because I don't want to see violence come over music songs. I like the fact that you guys are competing with each other. And we're going to keep it on wax. But here's the thing. The clip's coming out. Styles P, you haven't even got no true spoke with him in terms of just battling. I know you guys are brothers. But here's the thing. Jim Jones, you're not part of this generation. So for you to sit there and say guys of the older generation, what you think Dipset is? Dipset is not part of this generation. They're old generation. You are an old artist. You are not young. I know you think you are young. Okay? That's part of your delusion. But you are an old man. You got gray hair. Okay? This is not your era. So with that being said, I appreciate the fact that you want to compete. I really do. But competing with Nas, there's levels to this. You got to earn some clout. All right? You got to put some numbers on the board. You got to keep producing hits. Give me a couple of shit that you got now that ain't up in Harlem. Give me a couple of those. You're gonna need about 6 or 7 of those to match with albums to compete against Nas. You're just too farther behind. So challenge a guy like Styles P. You know, even though you're not even on Styles P level, but you're closer to his level than you are on Nas's in terms of at least making music, right? But you're not there yet, bro. Just sorry to tell you that. But I appreciate the confidence. And I'm not sitting there saying you can't say you're better than people, because confidence is something you have to have in yourself. If you don't have it in yourself, nobody else is going to have it for you. I'm out. Peace.